Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when you must realize that not every face you meet is friendly, and not every voice that questions you is seeking the truth. Sometimes the resistance you feel isn't human at all. It's the shadow of doubt wearing a familiar disguise. The real enemy is never truly them, it's the energy working through them. And your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the vision within you, not to explain it to those whose only mission is to break it. Not every question deserves an answer. This may sound harsh in a world that worships dialogue, discussion, and justification. But when you begin to walk in true power, you realize the futility of explaining divine things to those who are not spiritually awake. Many questions are not born out of curiosity or admiration. They are rooted in disbelief, mockery, envy, or worse, intent to derail you from your path. There is a kind of questioning that wears the mask of interest, but behind it lurks a desire to diminish, to doubt, to destabilize. And if you respond, you step into their arena, where truth is not honored, but wrestled and distorted, until even you begin to doubt the clarity that once lived within you. People will ask, who do you think you are? Not to gain understanding, but to remind you of who they think you should remain. Their question is not a doorway, but a trap. It's a challenge disguised as concern. It's not an invitation to express your vision. It's bait to pull you back into limitation. And when you explain, when you try to validate your calling, you begin to negotiate with fear in human form. You begin to argue with minds that are not seeking truth. They're seeking control. Some people ask questions, not because they want to learn from you, but because they want to reduce you to something they can understand, and therefore dismiss. You were never meant to be comprehensible to everyone. The vision placed inside you was not a public announcement, it was a sacred whisper. You were not told to convince the world, you were called to live it. And when the questions come, when the challenges rise, when the voices start to demand your explanation, your job is not to defend yourself. Your job is to remain rooted in the knowing that your spirit is not up for debate. There is a kind of silence that is louder than any justification you could ever give. There is a kind of unwavering posture that says more than words ever could. When you feel the urge to explain, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove, and to whom? If the answer is not rooted in love, alignment, or growth, remain still. Do not cast your pearls before those who will trample them. Do not offer your gold to those who see only stone. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself fully. That's the real mission. The truth is, the more powerful your vision becomes, the more confusing it will seem to those who cannot see it. And that's okay. Let them be confused. Let them ask their questions. Let them wrestle with the mystery that is your becoming. But do not descend to answer what was never worthy of your response. A lion does not explain why it roars. A flame does not apologize for its heat. Likewise, you must learn to embody your truth so completely that explanation becomes irrelevant. Often, the demand for explanation is simply the echo of another person's insecurity. They see you rising, and rather than rise with you, they question you. They see you evolving, and instead of turning inward, they turn on you. Your light unsettles the darkness they have made peace with. Your confidence agitates the fear they have befriended. So they ask questions. Not to build a bridge of understanding, but to build a cage around your freedom. Don't walk into that trap. You are not cold for staying silent. You are not arrogant for refusing to explain. You are simply protecting what is sacred. You are honoring the mystery. You are holding space for your own expansion. Let your life be the answer. Let your results speak. Let your peace be the loudest sound in the room. Not every question deserves an answer, especially when the question itself is a test of how much you're willing to betray your vision to be accepted. Stand firm. Your silence is your strength. Some people are just mirrors of your old self. And when you start to rise, to grow, to step into a new version of who you are, it's not uncommon to feel friction from those around you. Not because they're truly against you, but because something about your transformation reminds them of everything they're still avoiding. You may mistake their resistance for personal hatred or their judgment as a direct attack. But in truth, they're simply reacting to a reflection they're not ready to face. They see in you the potential they once had, the dreams they once entertained, the courage they once flirted with but never embraced. And now, your movement, your evolution, your decision to stop shrinking back, it disrupts the lie they've settled into. What you must understand is that before you awakened, before you believed in yourself, you too may have felt what they feel now. You may have looked at others and thought, who do they think they are? You may have criticized what you couldn't yet embody, not out of true contempt, but because something inside you felt the weight of possibility, and it scared you. So now, when others do the same to you, remember, they are not the enemy. They are evidence of who you used to be. And the more they irritate you, the more they may still hold up a mirror to a piece of you that hasn't fully healed. This is why judgment from others often feels so personal, because it touches a part of you that once agreed with them. But when you begin to let go of who you were, when you fully surrender to the higher version of yourself, you no longer need their validation, nor do you fear their misunderstanding. You start to see their behavior not as betrayal, but as a message, a quiet reminder of how far you've come. There will be people who mock your growth, not because they don't believe in you, but because they've stopped believing in themselves. They'll laugh at your vision, not because it's impossible, but because they buried their own vision long ago. And when you speak life over your future, it awakens their pain. It reminds them of the promises they abandoned, the calling they silenced, the faith they traded for comfort. You become a trigger, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you represent a path they didn't take. You must be careful not to let their reflection pull you back into your past. Just because they speak from the place you used to live doesn't mean you belong there anymore. Your work is to bless them silently, even as they misunderstand you, to release them with love, even as they resist your light, to recognize that their discomfort is not your responsibility. It's their own soul trying to shake them awake. But not everyone will answer that call, and that's not your burden to carry. When someone opposes your growth, look deeper. Ask yourself, is this about them, or is this something I once believed about myself? If it's the latter, it's a gift, a chance to finally release that belief forever. And if it's the former, let them be. Everyone walks their own path in their own time. Some will evolve, some will stay stuck. Some will rise with you, others will fall away. But all of them, at some point, will serve as mirrors, showing you either who you used to be or who you could become again, if you stop trusting the light inside you. So don't fight the reflection. Don't argue with the echo of your past. Just keep moving forward. Keep expanding. Keep choosing the higher path. The clearer your light becomes, the more you draw out the shadows in others, not to harm you, but to show them the truth. And whether they embrace that truth or run from it, that is no longer your concern. You've already answered your calling. Keep walking. You are not here to convince. You are here to create. There is a subtle but powerful difference between the two. Convincing comes from doubt. It stems from a need to be seen, understood, validated. It's rooted in the fear that maybe, just maybe, if others don't agree with you, then what you believe might not be real. But creation is born of knowing. It does not beg for permission, nor does it shrink in the face of disbelief. Creation stands alone, confident, silent, and unstoppable. The one who is truly in alignment with their vision doesn't argue for it. They become it. They do not need to explain why they are building. They simply build. There will always be people who don't understand your path. They will ask questions that sound logical but are laced with fear. Why don't you do something more realistic? Are you sure this is the right thing? What if it doesn't work out? And if you're not careful, you'll fall into the trap of trying to prove your path is worthy, explaining your dream to someone who's never dared a dream, showing blueprints to someone who only sees ruins. That is not your mission. Your mission is to create from the vision within, not to spend your energy arguing with those who only understand what already exists. Convincing is a form of leaking power. The more you try to persuade others, the more you subtly give away your own certainty. You start tailoring your message to their comfort, their mindset, their level of belief, and before you know it, your dream has been diluted to fit into a space it was never meant to belong. Creation, on the other hand, requires no external input. It is pure expression. It does not care who agrees. It does not wait for applause. It emerges from the unseen, from the depths of consciousness, and takes form only because you decided it would. When you are in creation mode, you don't speak to convince, you speak to declare. You don't act to be liked, you act to bring life to an idea. And if others misunderstand, misinterpret, mock, or ignore it, it does not matter. The seed doesn't need the soil to praise it in order to grow. It just grows. So must you. What is placed inside of you is not a democracy. It's a divine instruction. And your loyalty must be to the instruction, not to the approval of the crowd. There is something profoundly liberating about no longer needing others to believe in you. You become immune to their confusion, untouched by their criticism. Why? Because you no longer seek agreement. You seek manifestation. You are not building so they understand. You are building because you must, because the vision burns in you, because silence feels like betrayal to your purpose. You were not sent here to argue. You were sent here to make something real. And as you create, something strange happens. The same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it. The ones who laughed will grow quiet. The ones who resisted you may try to align with you, but by then you'll realize the truth. You never needed them. You only ever needed to stay true to what you saw within. The world may catch up later, but the work is done now. Your energy is no longer wasted trying to convince blind eyes to see. You've remembered your role: to create, to shape, to express what only you were given. And that is more than enough. Darkness always challenges a light before it surrenders. This is a universal truth, written not just in spiritual texts or ancient wisdom, but in every transformation, every awakening, every moment of inner growth. The instant you decide to step into your light, into your purpose, your power, your truth, you must also be prepared for the resistance that will come, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something right. Life disturbs what has been dormant. It exposes what has been hidden. It threatens the comfort of the familiar, even when that comfort has been built on lies, fears, and smallness. And so darkness does what darkness always does. It fights back. You may have noticed it. The moment you make a decision to rise, life seems to push harder. The moment you choose faith, fear gets louder. The moment you declare change, The old patterns show up more aggressively than ever before. This is not failure. This is not punishment. This is initiation. It is the necessary confrontation between the new you and the remnants of who you used to be. Darkness is not just outside of you. It lives in your habits, in your doubts, in your attachments to what once defined you. And when the light of awareness begins to shine through, those shadows are stirred. They come alive, not to destroy you, but to be seen, to be faced, to be finally released. Every breakthrough is preceded by chaos, not because the light is weak, but because it is strong enough to pull everything to the surface that cannot coexist with it. When you say, I am ready, everything that says you're not rises to the surface. Old memories, negative beliefs, toxic relationships, familiar temptations. They come not to keep you stuck, but to ask you one question. Are you truly ready to let this go? That is the challenge darkness presents. It is a final echo of who you no longer wish to be, asking if you still want to dance with it one more time. Do not be afraid of this resistance. Do not interpret it as a sign to retreat. The more intense the opposition, the closer you are to something sacred. The darkness screams loudest before it dies. It will try to convince you that the old way was safer, more predictable. It will whisper that growth is too risky, that change is too painful. But you must remember, darkness has no real power once you've decided to walk in the light. It only survives through illusion, through distraction, through your belief in its strength. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to dissolve. This is why many never fully step into the light. They misinterpret the challenge as a barrier rather than a threshold. But the truth is, darkness is only asking for acknowledgement. It wants to be seen for what it is. Fear, regret, doubt, shame, and it wants to be met with something stronger. That something is your clarity, your choice, your unwavering commitment to becoming who you are meant to be. Light does not need to argue with the dark. It simply shows up, and the darkness fades. The fight is not forever. The surrender does come, but not before you've proven to yourself that the light within you is real. Not before you've chosen your truth again and again, even when the shadows seem louder, even when the night feels long. That's the test, not to win with force, but to hold your light with such grace and certainty that the darkness has no option but to bow. And it will. Because that's what darkness has always done in the presence of someone who remembers who they are. Your vibration is the only explanation you ever need. When you walk into a room, long before you speak, long before you are seen, you are felt. What radiates from you, the invisible current of your thoughts, your self-belief, your intentions, is more powerful than any carefully crafted sentence or elaborate justification. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth, your path, or your choices. When your energy speaks it so clearly, the world responds not to your words, but to your frequency. That is the true language of the universe. There is a version of you that still believes explanation is required, that you must justify your dream, your transformation, your detachment, your glow up. That version of you is still living from the mind, still trying to make sense of the divine using logic. But energy isn't logical. Energy simply is. And when you are in full alignment, you don't have to say much at all. People feel the shift. They notice the silence, the ease, the power that no longer tries to prove itself. You become unshakable not because of what you say, but because of how you exist. There are those who will question you, why you've changed, why you're quieter now, why you don't engage the way you used to. And your answer doesn't need to be spoken. You don't owe them a breakdown of your healing, a history of your pain, or a roadmap of your decisions. If they were vibrating where you are, they would already understand. And if they are not, no amount of words will bridge the gap. Vibration doesn't argue. It aligns or it doesn't. It resonates or it doesn't. That is its quiet brilliance. When you operate from a high vibration, rooted in love, clarity, vision, and faith, you start to attract a different reality. Not because you said the right thing or because you convinced others to believe in you, but because you've tuned your frequency to a level where your outer world must respond in kind. Like a magnet, you begin to draw people, experiences, and opportunities that are in harmony with your internal state. And just the same, anything that is not in alignment will naturally fall away. Not out of conflict, but because it simply can't survive in your field. This is why inner work is so essential. You're not just healing to feel better. You're healing to vibrate higher. Because at that higher vibration, explanations become obsolete. You don't chase, you attract. You don't defend, you radiate. You don't react, you observe. Your energy creates the invitation or the exit. You don't need to ask for respect when you are respect. You don't need to plead for love when you embody love. It is all energy. And this is what the world doesn't teach you. That the most powerful statement you can ever make is your own presence. Not loud, not forceful, but undeniable. When you live from your highest vibration, the people meant for you will feel you, the opportunities meant for you will find you, and the things not meant for you will drift away without drama. You no longer need to chase or explain, you just are, and that is enough. So the next time someone doesn't understand you, don't reach for 1,000 reasons. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Don't argue your truth. Instead, rise into your energy. Let your alignment speak. Let your peace speak. Let your joy speak. Let your silence speak. And most of all, trust that your vibration is communicating with the universe in ways no words ever could. You are here to be felt, not explained. Walk silently, but walk with fire. Let your presence move through this world like a quiet storm, unannounced, unapologetic, and unstoppable. The most powerful ones are never the loudest in the room. They don't need to shout to be heard. They don't need applause to know their worth. They move with a sacred intensity, a calm fury that speaks louder than any speech ever could. They don't explain the fire within. They let it burn and let the world feel the heat. Silence is not weakness, it's mastery. It's knowing when to speak and when to let the work speak for itself. It's choosing to hold your vision close to your chest, not because you are hiding it, but because you are protecting it. In silence, the dream breathes. In silence, your energy is conserved. Your power is sharpened. Too often, people leak their power through unnecessary words, premature declarations, or seeking validation before the foundation has even been laid. But those who understand true creation know that fire grows stronger in quiet spaces. To walk with fire means you carry a knowing deep within your soul, a knowing that you are chosen for something greater. It means you've looked into the dark and decided to become light. It means your steps may look slow to others, but they are deliberate, guided by vision, not by noise. You don't walk to impress, you walk to arrive. You don't move to prove, you move to become. The fire inside you doesn't flicker to entertain, it blazes to transform. There will be times when you feel underestimated, overlooked, even doubted. Let them. That is the gift of silence. While others are busy watching the surface, you are building something in the depths. Let them think you're quiet because you have nothing to say, when in truth you are quiet because what you're becoming cannot yet be explained. The fire you carry doesn't need defending. It is divine. It is destiny. It is uncontainable. Those who walk with fire don't seek to convince, they seek to create. Every step they take is infused with purpose, even if no one else sees it yet. Their silence is not absence, it is alignment. It is preparation. It is the sound of something powerful being born. You don't need to announce your arrival when your energy precedes you. When you're walking with fire, the path opens, not because you asked, but because your frequency commands it. Let your actions be louder than any explanation. Let your focus be your rebellion. Let your discipline be your language. In a world addicted to noise, your silence becomes sacred. It becomes the echo of a soul that knows exactly where it's going. And while others waste their energy arguing, performing, or competing, you are becoming, you are rising, you are walking, flame by flame, into the life that was always meant to be yours. There is nothing louder than a spirit on fire, nothing more magnetic than a soul that knows its mission. When you walk in silence but burn with conviction, you become undeniable. You don't ask for space, you are the space. You don't chase attention, you command it without trying. So keep your fire close, keep your vision sacred, and walk not for the crowd, not for approval, but for the promise you made to yourself when no one was watching. Let your footsteps be guided not by pressure, but by passion. Let your silence be filled with power, not fear. And let the fire within you lead the way, knowing that when the time is right, the world will see everything they never expected from the one who walked quietly but carried the storm. You were never meant to plead your worth to those who can't see beyond their own shadows. You were never placed on this earth to convince the blind of your vision or to awaken those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your path is sacred. Your evolution is personal. And your power lies not in explanation, but in embodiment. Let the doubters remain confused. Let the watchers keep watching. Your life is not a courtroom, and your truth is not up for debate. The demons in people will always try to pull you back into patterns you've outgrown. They will challenge your peace, provoke your silence, and tempt your light. But you must remember, your energy is too divine to be wasted on war. You are here to walk boldly with stillness in your voice and fire in your soul. You are here to reflect the light of the world you've already created within. And when the noise tries to lure you, when the darkness tries to draw you back in, you don't explain. You rise. You walk on. You evolve. You create. Because the ones who truly see you don't need you to say a word. Let your life speak. Let your vibration answer the questions your voice never will. And above all, never forget, you are not here to convince. You are here to be. There is a power within you, so magnificent, so precise, and so astonishingly creative that it shapes your entire reality. It does not require permission, approval, or evidence from the world outside. It only needs one thing: your conscious direction. If there is someone you long to connect with, someone whose thoughts you wish to linger on you, whose heart you want to be magnetized to yours, know this: it is not a matter of chance. It is not coincidence. It is choice, intention, and feeling combined into a living, breathing force that works silently and faithfully to bring your desire into form. What if I told you that you could occupy a space in someone's mind so powerfully, so irresistibly, that they feel drawn to you without knowing why? That you could become their favorite thought, their quiet obsession, their persistent yearning? You can. And this is how your inner conversation is the origin of everything you experience in your world, especially the way others relate to you. When you desire for a specific person to think about you nonstop, the most powerful place to begin is within the realm of your own thoughts. It may appear that people choose to think about someone based on external factors, actions, or circumstances. But this is an illusion. The truth is, the conversations you have within yourself are constantly radiating a message that the outer world picks up and reflects back to you in ways both subtle and obvious. Every time you think about this specific person, you are setting a tone. You are choosing either closeness or distance, attraction or repulsion, presence or absence. Most people make the mistake of thinking passively. Why don't they reach out? Or maybe they don't care anymore. These thoughts are not neutral. They carry weight, power, and energy. They become the broadcast your inner world is sending to their subconscious. And whether they are aware of it or not, they are responding to the tone of your silent self-talk. When you intentionally shape your inner dialogue, you move from being a passive observer of reality to the conscious creator of it. So instead of thinking, I hope they're thinking about me, speak to yourself as if you already know the answer. They can't stop thinking about me. Feel the truth of those words. Make them your internal mantra. Allow them to become so familiar that they feel natural. And the more you claim this with certainty in your private world, the more effortlessly it begins to take form in the outer. The mind of another is not separate from your influence. You're already connected. You're not trying to plant an idea in them. You are awakening it by planting the idea in yourself. Your inner speech shapes your vibration, and your vibration reaches them. Without saying a word, without sending a text, you are communicating soul to soul. You are creating a current of thought that flows from you to them, and that current is charged by how consistently and vividly you repeat your chosen story. It's not about pretending. It's about knowing. You are not lying to yourself when you say, they miss me. You are claiming a new reality. You are inviting the invisible truth to become visible. And the moment you speak this inner truth with feeling, the energy shifts. They may not know why they suddenly remember you. They may not understand why their heart feels a pull toward you, but they will feel it, because thought is not confined to your mind. It is energy, and energy moves. Let your inner conversations become loving, confident, and aligned with the outcome you desire. Speak to yourself the way you would want them to speak to you. Hear their voice saying the words you long to hear. I can't stop thinking about you. You've been on my mind all day. There's just something about you I can't shake. Say it quietly in your heart. Whisper it before sleep. Repeat it when doubts arise, and feel it as if it were already done. The most magnetic force in this universe is belief fused with emotion. Your inner conversation is not a ritual or a chore. It is the creative engine of your reality. It is how the invisible becomes visible. It is how you plant the image of yourself in the mind of the one you desire, not through force, not through neediness, but through certainty and calm intention. As you refine the way you speak within, you begin to see the outside change. You find yourself receiving texts, calls, glances, and gestures that mirror your inner truth. You will see the signs, but more importantly, you will feel the connection, not because you chased it, but because you spoke it, believed it, and became it. Feeling is the most magnetic force you possess. It is not logic, not effort, not even repetition alone that draws things into your reality. It is the depth and certainty of the feeling you hold within. You can visualize a specific person, think about them, script about them, or say affirmations all day long. But if the feeling behind it is rooted in lack, fear, or doubt, then that is the true message you're sending. The universe, or more accurately, the creative power within you, responds not to words alone, but to the emotional tone those words carry. Feeling is the language of creation. It bypasses all barriers penetrates all resistance, and makes the invisible real. When you desire someone to think about you constantly, to feel drawn to you, to keep returning to you in their thoughts, then you must first feel what it's like to be thought of. You must step into that emotional atmosphere before you have any physical proof of it. And this is the secret so many overlook. The feeling comes first. The manifestation follows. Instead of looking outward and asking, "Are they thinking of me yet?" turn inward and ask, "How does it feel to know I'm always on their mind?" That question changes everything. When you feel as if you're already the person they cannot stop thinking about, you shift your energy into alignment with that reality. You begin to radiate the vibration of being wanted, cherished, remembered. You are no longer trying to pull something in, you are being it. You are embodying the outcome now, and that embodiment becomes the magnet. The specific person begins to tune into that frequency. Often without knowing why, they feel your presence energetically, because your feeling is not contained by the body. It reaches outward, it travels, it touches. This is not about fantasy, it's about truth. You are not pretending to be someone you're not. You are activating a version of yourself that already exists in the unseen. You're collapsing time by feeling now what the future version of you would naturally feel once the desire is fulfilled. You're saying, "I don't need to wait. I can feel it now, I can be it now." And once you become it internally, the outer has no choice but to conform. Imagine for a moment that this specific person is lying in bed thinking about you right now. They're replaying your words, your smile, your energy. They're wondering why they can't shake you from their mind. How does that feel? Sit in that. Let it sink into your body. Let your heart race a little. Let your breath deepen. Let the butterflies flutter. This is not wasted emotion. This is creation. You are not daydreaming. You are aligning. And in that alignment, you become magnetic. If you find yourself feeling doubt, do not fight it, shift it. Ask, what would it feel like if I knew without question that I was on their mind all day long? Play with that idea. Let the emotion rise and grow stronger. The more vivid and alive that feeling becomes, the faster the reality will mirror it. Because you cannot hold a feeling consistently without it forming something physical. That is law. That is certainty. The outer world is not stubborn. It is obedient to feeling. So when you want someone to think about you, obsess over you, be consumed by thoughts of you, don't try to force it with action or manipulation. Go deeper. Feel it. Feel how it would feel if it were already happening. And don't just visit that feeling, live in it. Return to it throughout your day. Make it your dwelling place. The more real it feels to you, the more irresistibly it calls to them. They don't need to be in the same room, the same city, or even in communication. Feeling transcends all space and time. It does what the logical mind cannot. It reaches out, speaks silently, and draws in. You are not hoping, they are already thinking about you. Let that feeling become your truth, and the evidence will find you. Assuming the role already given means stepping into the identity of the one who already has what they desire. It means living from the end, not toward it. If you want to be the person someone can't stop thinking about, then you must become that version of yourself internally before anything changes externally. Most people live in a constant state of waiting. Waiting for the text, waiting for the call, waiting for the confirmation that the desire is manifesting. But this waiting state is actually a declaration of lack. It says, "I don't have it yet," and that belief becomes the experience. To truly become magnetic to a specific person's thoughts, you have to wear the feeling of being wanted like it's already your skin. You must move through your day with the certainty that you are already the most captivating, unforgettable presence in their life. It's not arrogance. It's truth expressed ahead of time. There is a version of you that exists where your desire is fully realized. That version doesn't hope or beg or question. They know and they feel it. When you assume the role, you merge with that version. Now, imagine how you would act if you already knew they couldn't stop thinking about you. Would you still be doubting? Would you still be checking your phone every 5 minutes? No. You'd be calm. You'd be grounded in knowing. You'd carry a subtle confidence that radiates from within. That is the role you must assume. Not once, not occasionally, but as a state of being. You choose it, you return to it, you live in it. Every great change in life starts first as an assumption. The world moves to accommodate what you believe about yourself, not what you hope will happen. When you assume the role of being deeply desired, you begin to attract experiences that reflect that truth. The specific person doesn't have to consciously realize what's changed. They'll just feel it. They'll think about you more. You will pop into their head at random times. Their interest will rise without clear explanation. That is the power of identity. Not forced, not chased, but embodied. This assumption must feel natural. If it feels like pretending or acting, keep refining it until it feels like a quiet truth. The goal is not to fake confidence or mimic behaviors. You are stepping into the version of yourself who already exists in the unseen. That version doesn't need evidence to believe. That version understands that belief is the cause, not the effect. So don't ask if it's working. Be the person it's already working for. Think of yourself as playing a role in a script you've written. If the scene is, they can't stop thinking about me, then how would the character who lives in that reality behave? What do they think? How do they feel when they wake up in the morning? How do they carry themselves through the day? Step into that character. Make it real in your imagination and let it become your dominant state of mind. When you assume the role already given, you stop trying to make things happen, you start letting them happen, because now you are aligned. The energy you hold matches the outcome you seek. And once that happens, the external world has no choice. It must echo what you have accepted as true. This is the great shift. The moment you stop waiting and start being, when you stop looking for signs and start becoming the sign. You are no longer trying to attract their attention. You are simply accepting that you already have it. That's the role, that's the reality. That's the truth waiting to unfold. The moment you step fully into it, there is a secret scene within you, a single mental picture, brief yet powerful, that holds the key to drawing someone's thoughts to you again and again. This is not a complicated vision or a grand sequence. It is simple, natural, and emotionally rich. It's the scene that sticks, the moment that captures the essence of your desire, condensed into a short flash of imagination, replayed until it feels more real than your current surrounding. When chosen with care and felt with intensity, this inner scene becomes the seed that shapes your outer reality. It becomes the experience you broadcast to the subconscious mind of the one you want to think about, you. You must craft this scene not from desperation, but from fulfillment. It should reflect a moment after your desire has been fulfilled. Perhaps it's them smiling as they look at you and say, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. Maybe it's a soft touch on your arm, a long hug, a phone call at night where their voice is filled with warmth. Whatever it is, it must feel vivid, alive, and most importantly, done. You are not imagining them wanting you. You are imagining a moment where the desire has already expressed itself, and then you loop it quietly, gently, but consistently. This scene becomes your private sanctuary, a space in your mind where you can return over and over, especially when doubt creeps in or when the outer world seems unchanged. In this sacred scene, time collapses. You are not waiting, you are not hoping, you are living in the memory of something that hasn't happened yet. And because you feel it so clearly, you pull it into being. It begins to impress itself on your subconscious, and from there, it begins to reach them. People pick up on thoughts and feelings that are consistently held. They may not understand it, but they'll feel it. They'll be in the middle of a conversation, and your face will flash through their mind. They'll wake up from a nap and feel an urge to check on you. They'll find themselves drawn to you without knowing why. That's the power of the scene that sticks. It embeds itself not only in your reality, but in theirs. You do not need to visualize for hours. You do not need elaborate scripts. All you need is one scene, short and real, replayed with emotion until it feels familiar. When you create a scene like this, your mind begins to treat it as fact. It starts looking for ways to match the external to the internal, and so does theirs. They begin to tune in to the emotion you're generating, because your inner world speaks louder than your words ever could. Your scene should feel like a memory. Let it be soaked in detail, not just sights, but sounds, textures, emotions. Feel the weight of their hand in yours. Hear the softness in their voice. Sense the spark in their eyes. And let the emotion swell inside you, not with longing, but with certainty. When it feels like you've been there before, when it feels like something that already happened, that's when it begins to take root. This is not daydreaming, this is creation. You are not escaping reality, you are constructing it. The scene becomes a blueprint, and once it's repeated enough with feeling, the mind accepts it. And when the mind accepts something as real, the world responds. That specific person begins to think about you because you've already lived the moment where they did. You've felt it, seen it, known it. The power lies in repetition with belief, not effort. Even a few seconds, when done with real emotion, is enough to shift your energy. And when your energy shifts, their attention follows. They feel you, even from afar, and soon they find themselves thinking about you, obsessing over you, wondering why they can't get you out of their head. That is the effect of a scene that sticks, played in the theater of your mind until the world mirrors it perfectly. Letting go is not giving up. It is not abandoning your desire or pretending it doesn't matter. Letting go is the ultimate expression of faith, of knowing that what you have imagined is already finished in the unseen and now unfolding in perfect order. It's the quiet confidence that says, I no longer need to obsess because it's already mine. This is the state that magnetizes the specific person to you in ways that conscious effort never could. When you let go, you shift from grasping to receiving. You stop pulling and start attracting. You no longer chase the outcome, you become the outcome. Letting go means releasing the constant inner chatter of when, how, where. It means stopping the mental checking for signs and synchronicities. You don't need to watch every movement or read into every silence. When you know something is yours, you don't micromanage it. You trust that what is claimed within must reflect without. And so you rest. You detach not from the desire, but from the need for it to happen in a particular way or on a specific timeline. When you say to yourself, it is done, feel the finality of it. Feel the relief that comes with no longer needing to figure it all out. Feel the quiet power in knowing that the inner world has already impressed the blueprint onto reality. and reality is now simply catching up. There is no need to look over your shoulder. There is no need to refresh your expectations every hour. You planted the seed in consciousness, and your only job now is to keep the soil of your mind fertile, with calm, with trust, with stillness. This energy of detachment is irresistible. It communicates strength. It sends a silent message to that specific person that you are whole, centered, fulfilled. And that energy draws them in far more powerfully than obsession ever could. People feel when you release them internally, not in resentment, but in peace. They feel the shift. They sense the vacuum that your stillness creates, and they are pulled toward it. Because the person who no longer needs is the one who suddenly has all the power. Letting go is not inaction. It is the most profound action you can take in the unseen. It is the act of stepping back and allowing the invisible forces to do their work. It is a declaration. I trust the process, I trust myself, I trust the reality I have already claimed in imagination. You stop reacting to appearances because appearances are temporary. You hold your state. You remain inwardly secure even when the outer shows nothing. That is true power. Think of how you feel after completing something important. There's a calm, a sense of closure. You no longer think about it every moment. It's done. It's finished. That's the feeling you must bring to your desires. When you can feel that way about the outcome you seek, that it's done, that it's yours, you free it to manifest without resistance. Your energy becomes clear, focused, open. You don't have to let go of wanting them. You simply let go of needing the outcome to prove anything to you. You already know who you are. You already know what you've imagined. You already know how it ends. So you return to life with ease, joy, lightness. You occupy yourself with beauty, with purpose, with self-respect. You stay open to receive, but you do not cling. And in that space, when you least expect it, the call comes, the message arrives, the encounter unfolds, not because you chased it, but because you released it in certainty. You said, "It is done," and you meant it. That is the moment creation completes itself, not when you try harder, but when you finally relax into knowing. You become the magnetic force that pulls them in, not through force, but through quiet, unwavering belief. And that is why letting go is, in the end of the process, it's the point where everything begins to move. Stillness is the forgotten power. In a world obsessed with doing, chasing, and proving, to be still is to stand in quiet mastery. It is the inner sanctuary where all manifestation begins, not in noise, not in anxiety, but in deep, unshakable knowing. When you want someone to think of you, to feel drawn to you, to be pulled by the invisible thread of your presence, you don't create that connection by constant mental effort. You create it in stillness, in the silent space where your awareness rests in certainty. You don't try to make them think of you. You know they are. And in that knowing, you become magnetic. Being still doesn't mean doing nothing externally. It means quieting the inner storm, silencing the mental chase, and stepping fully into the now with calm belief. When you are still, you stop asking, "Is it working?" Because the very question implies doubt. You no longer look for signs because your trust is the sign. You cease checking for evidence because the feeling of inner assurance is the evidence. You sit with the feeling of already having what you desire, and you refuse to be moved by what your senses tell you. That's stillness. That's faith. That's power. To be still and know is to tap into the awareness that your imagination is not fantasy. It is creation. At the moment you saw yourself in their mind, The moment you felt their heart call for yours, something shifted. You touched the unseen. You impressed the infinite. And now, all you have to do is remain still and keep knowing. The outer world will move, circumstances will change, thoughts will rise in their mind that they can't explain. A memory of you will surface without reason. That's the ripple effect of stillness. When you are internally still, you become immovable. You stop reacting, you stop chasing thoughts of lack, you stop fearing the silence. And the paradox is, when you no longer fear the silence, it is often broken by them. They reach out. They appear. Because the energy has shifted, you are no longer broadcasting longing. You are transmitting knowing. And they feel it, even if they don't understand why. This is not about pretending. It's about becoming. Not through action, but through being. Stillness allows space for the manifestation to form. Constant doubt, worry, and mental chasing crowd the space and delay the process. But when you're still, when you quiet the chatter, you make room for the unseen to crystallize into form. You stop pushing against what is, and you start allowing what will be. You sit in your mind center and declare, this is already done. You feel the truth of that even if nothing yet confirms it. And you hold that feeling. You return to it gently, day after day, until it becomes who you are. You don't need to meditate for hours. You don't need to say affirmations on repeat. You simply need to still the inner waves and feel the depth of your knowing. Even a few seconds of pure awareness held without resistance can be more powerful than days of mental effort. Because in those seconds you become aligned. You remember that you are the creator, not the chaser. You are the cause, not the effect. There's a moment when you're still enough, where all fear disappears, but the desire stops feeling like something distant and starts feeling like something familiar. That moment is the gateway. That's where the bridge of incidents begins to form, where unseen paths begin to light up, and where the specific person starts feeling an urge, a thought, a pull. They don't know where it came from, but you do. It came from your stillness, from the space where you stopped needing and started knowing. And in that space, everything you want becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. You are the cause, not the effect, not the reaction, not the bystander. You are the origin point of everything that unfolds in your experience. When it comes to drawing a specific person's attention, evoking their thoughts, or creating a powerful, unexplainable connection between you and them, it doesn't start with them, it starts with you. Not with what they say or do, not with external signs or confirmations, but with the state you occupy within yourself. You are not at the mercy of what others think. You are not waiting for their approval or attention. You are generating the frequency that determines what comes back to you. To fully grasp that you are the cause is to take back every ounce of your power. You stop saying things like, I hope they notice me, or what if they don't care, and you begin declaring, my inner world determines my outer world. They think of me because I have assumed the role of being on their mind. It sounds bold, it might even sound unbelievable, but this is the truth of creation. What you hold consistently in consciousness must externalize. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are choosing, you are deciding that their attention is drawn to you, not by manipulation, but by energetic alignment. Every thought you think, every feeling you accept, every scene you replay is a signal. It goes out not through words, but through vibration. and vibration speaks louder than action. When you consistently embody the version of yourself who is already loved, already wanted, already deeply in the heart and mind of that specific person, you begin to pull that reality into form. You stop being the effect of past stories and start becoming the cause of new outcomes. The mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will say, look, they haven't messaged, or they don't seem interested. But that's old data. That's yesterday's news. If you want a new reality, you must stop reporting the current one and start creating the next one. You can't cause something new while reacting to what already is. The creative power lies in your ability to occupy the state of the end, to live mentally from the assumption that what you desire is already real. Hitting the cause also means you don't wait. You don't wonder when. You don't beg the universe for proof. You assume the authority of your own mind. You say to yourself, I am the one who imagines, who believes, who assumes, and therefore I am the one who experiences. That specific person is not separate from you in consciousness. Their thoughts can be influenced not by pressure, not by force, but by your inner conviction. If you dwell in the state of being remembered, you will be. If you dwell in the state of being longed for, they will feel it. This is not about arrogance. This is not about control. This is about understanding your role as the initiator. That your inner conversations, feelings, and self-image are the root causes of every connection, every attraction, every manifestation. If you feel unseen, it is because you have identified with being unseen. If you feel magnetic, it is because you have accepted that truth. The external simply reflects the internal. When you look at yourself and say, I am the one who sets the tone, you take full creative responsibility. No more blame, no more waiting, just awareness. From this place, you shift into alignment with the version of yourself who already has what you desire. You think their name with certainty, not longing. You feel their presence with gratitude, not absence. You walk through your day with the knowing that your inner world is shaping the outer in ways you cannot yet see. But it is happening because you are the cause. And the cause never begs. It simply creates, and trusts the effect will follow. When you understand that everything begins within you, the way you move through life in love changes completely. You stop chasing, pleading, hoping, and start being. You become the magnetic center of your reality. You no longer ask if they're thinking about you. You know they are, because you've impressed that truth upon your consciousness with unwavering belief. Through inner conversation, deep feeling, powerful assumption, vivid imagination, calm surrender, still awareness, and the remembrance that you are always the cause, you awaken the force that makes the impossible inevitable. The specific person isn't distant. They are already entwined with you in the unseen. And your job is not to chase them in the physical world, but to claim them within, boldly and silently. The version of you who is remembered, desired, and deeply loved already exists. Step into that version. Think from it. Feel from it. Move from it. The moment you do, you'll no longer ask when it will happen, because you'll know it already has. That's when the phone rings. That's when the message comes. That's when reality shifts. You don't need to force a thing. You simply need to know who you are and rest in that knowing. Because once you fully realize that this power, this awareness, this feeling, this faith makes them think of you nonstop, you'll never question it again. You'll simply live from it, and the world will conform.